Impossible Creatures is a 2003 real-time strategy game where the main gimmick is combining creatures to create hybrids and fight them against hordes of equally bizarre creatures. That is just a simple summation of the plot, however. That doesn't even come close to the true chaos you can witness on screen. The game was heavily inspired by H.G. Wells' novel The Island of Dr. Moreau. The main goal of the game is that you can take any two animals and fuse them into rather interesting combinations, and then throw them against hordes of equally horrific monsters. Impossible Creatures was developed by Relic Entertainment and published by Microsoft Games in early 2003. Crazy enough, a good chunk of the team that helped make the original Homeworld was involved in development. Our Homeworld story is a serious tale about the struggles of your people to find a new home. Impossible Creatures feels tonally much more lighthearted.
They're really big drums! Huge! The latest models.
More akin to an Indiana Jones adventure. That being said, there are definitely a few moments.
What do you mean? Here, there's nobody here but you and all these Oh no. Oh no.
The game takes place in a fictional archipelago in the South Pacific, circa 1937. When the game released, it did fairly decent, though reviews of it did have complaints about the balancing in this game. Unlike other RTSs, the rock, paper, scissors element was kind of lacking in this one. To note, the version I'm playing is the Steam edition of the game, which was published by THQ Nordic. This version includes all the previous patches and expansion packs for the game, making it the most complete version of the game available in one spot, barring any mods, most of which add some more creatures and ease-of-life fixes. Graphically, this game's not getting any awards in the looks department, but that's okay. A game that's recently become old enough to drink probably won't be the most visually stunning when you put it up against more modern games. The game goes for a steampunk aesthetic, and that can only mean one thing. That's right, y'all. Trains. But not just any trains. These ones can fly. Visually speaking, everything looks like what they say they are, despite some stylization when it comes to the character models. Looking at the models themselves, I was actually surprised to notice that at least the main characters, Lucy and Rex, will actually have their models' mouths move when the dialogue occurs. There are essentially 4 biomes you'll be playing through here: the tundra, savanna, desert, and grasslands. Aside from the color and the few background details, the environments are pretty much all the same. No hazards, nothing like that. Then again, the main stars of the game are the creatures. There are a total of 76 creatures with the expansion packs, however only 51 are available to you in the campaign. The animals you can combine run a wide range of sizes and species, and in one case time period. The creatures, depending on their constituent species, will have a name generated that will be broken down to a few categories like flying, ground, or aquatic. Though personally I've never really seen the need for a purely water unit. The world is your oyster. You can create a good number of creatures, from more tame fantasy to utterly horrific nightmare fuel. You are limited only to 9 units in your army, however, and that's the only real limit to your imagination. Another feature of the creator is the analyzer that gives you an idea of your army's strengths and weaknesses, as well as any other issues like having a super expensive army or you're lacking a certain type of unit. I should note that in the campaign this feature can be used on the fly, but be warned, deleting a creature from your army can have interesting results. When you select units, they will respond depending on the head that you have attached. Even creatures that you wouldn't expect to make a sound will still make a sound, though, it might be a bit more interesting in what it sounds like. They always ask, what does the fox say? But no one really does ask, what does the eel think about it? The soundscape of the game is nothing to truly write home about. There's a fair number of generic sounds in there. That being said, I do have to give the voice actors some credit. A few lines, were compressed like crazy, but nothing too ridiculous. There is one sound clip that's forever ingrained in my mind, and it only happens when combat starts.
The critters are under attack!
The henchman
Hello.
lets you know just about everything that's going on, and yeah, it can get kind of annoying.
Me?
I would pay someone actual money to remix this man's lines. The music for the game was something that I forgot was actually so good. Clearly my tastes have grown since I've gotten older. The energetic and somewhat bombastic music that plays in the menu lets you know that you're in for an adventure, but when the fur and feathers start flying, there are no factions in the game, as well as a lack of more rock, paper, scissors mechanics you see in other RTSs. The AI is not a grand strategist or anything like that, but it will keep you on your toes from time to time. I'd also be doing a disservice if I didn't mention the pathfinding issues that I encountered. Units would just make a long conga line and just to get anywhere, and if you ordered them to attack something that was destroyed, the whole line of creatures, assuming they were still on the way, would just stop. I started using the attack move order when this happens, and that way they just keep going and won't stop until, they finally get there, but I feel like I've talked enough about how the game plays, but what about the story? For those who don't want spoilers, please go to here. Alright, I warned you. Dr. Chanikov, the estranged father of our protagonist, Rex Chance, reaches out to him, asking for him to come to the islands he's exiled himself for some 29 years, where he was performing mysterious research. When Rex arrives, we find it completely abandoned, save for that tiger mantis and a scorpion wolf that chases him outside. This is where we meet Upton Julius, the big bad of the game. But before Rex can be captured, he's rescued by Lucy and her flying train, in which they narrowly escape. From here, the first 2 missions are tutorials teaching you about the mechanics of building creatures and how to gather DNA from wild creatures around the map. For obvious reasons, you can fail the mission if either Rex or Lucy die during the whole campaign. We build a pack of creatures to clear out our side of the island and help some villagers. Later, we need to get some fuel from a nearby depot. This is where we are introduced to henchmen. These guys are our only human units in the game. They can build, they can swim,
Got scars.
When we get far enough along in the first act, we are introduced to Whitey Hooten.
Find them, or else.
Whitey is in charge of keeping the henchmen in line, and he has a very certain way about doing that.
We've been worried about a couple of animals. We'll beat it from one side of this iceberg to the other, and we'll enjoy it to boot. Understood?
Sure, boss. I was just thinking.
Thinking? Ha! That's a laugh. Tell the rest of those fools to be on the lookout.
Yes, boss.
Gotta love the management style, right? It was during this initial set of missions that we learned that Dr. Chanikov was killed by Julius and his men, and at that moment the Rex swears revenge against Julius. We head over to where Whitey is at. After we take out some of his bases to get his attention, the man might also be Dragonborn because he Fusro Daws an entire ice sheet out of existence. We come in after, he opens the way, and wreck up his base.
You rotten, cheating scoundrels! You ruined my ship!
And no more Whitey after that. The second act of the campaign takes us to the savannas, where we meet our next villain, Velika Lepet. As a bird lady, Velika focuses mainly on air units.
We are going to have visitors. Prepare your creatures for a fight. I'm sending out the scouts. My pretties. Goodbye!
Making you have to adjust your creatures to be able to handle that situation. Our initial encounter with her gets a little heated when she tries to burn down our base. This is also where we're introduced to one of our best units, the Archer Fish.
They spit water.
We keep disrupting her operations across a few more islands, taking out a couple bases here and there, get an air vehicle. It's during the later parts of the act where we begin to witness the depths of Julius's evil plans, where we find out that many of the villagers have been taken to be used for experimentation of some sort. We learned this through an escort mission with a rather hilarious start in my opinion.
Rex, I want to help these villagers as much as you, but we need to collect some more powerful creatures first.
You will not help us? Then you will not use any of our island creatures. Go! Creatures of the island, go!
We eventually chase her down to her base, have to fight 2 of her more elite minions, and then as we take out her main base, she tries to escape.
My beautiful lamb, my gorgeous wardrobe, my pearls. They'll pay for this. This isn't possible.
Now that we're about roughly halfway through the story, it's really just a matter of dismantling the rest of Julius's organization at this point and getting more creatures to add to our horrific army. There's a brief filler mission where we get shot down, but we have to take out some generators and we are managed to escape. Nothing too crazy. However, this is the mission right before one of the biggest slogs in my opinion. Invasion is the 10th mission, in which we find Julius and his men are constructing multiple more advanced flying trains capable of acting as mobile labs. With something like this, he could deploy his creatures anywhere. Rex and Lucy set out to stop this plant from producing more and more of these trains. This mission was kind of frustrating. For starters, you had to contend with 5 enemy AIs, all producing units and launching periodic raids on you. The problem is, eventually these raids, at least for me, lined up to the point where it's just a constant stream of enemies coming at you for a solid 10 minutes or so. After I managed to take out a few of the bases, I kind of said screw it, and just started launching air raids on everyone else. Just throwing wave after wave of creatures. The thing is, constantly blitzing the computer this way is kind of pointless, because the AI will eventually start cheating. I know because I cheated on resources during this level and still had less resources than the computer at the very end of the session. One that took an hour and 45 minutes. There probably was and is an easier way than the approach I took though, but you know, I had little luck doing so. After that literal trial by fire, we move on to another island, where Rex reveals his feelings about the Sigma technology and how truly dangerous it is, and how it should be destroyed. However, Lucy feels the technology is simply in the wrong hands and could be used to a major benefit for mankind if used properly. She sets out to find out if some of her doubts about human experimentation are actually true. Rex sets out to track down Lucy and find out where she went. After catching up with Lucy, we learn that Dr. Ganglion had been using the villagers for human experimentation, but unfortunately instead of creating something, you know, like centaurs or harpies or mermaids or cat girls, we got something much worse.
Oh my God, what have I done? What was I a part of?
This is when Lucy decides that we need to set out and destroy the Sigma technology once and for all. And with that, we set out to Ganglion's lab to put an end to his twisted experiments. This level was pretty straightforward. You only had one thing you had to do, and that was wreck up the place. And I had fun doing that. After defeating Ganglion, we press him for what he knows. But it's at this time, Rex senses something. Something he's never felt before.
What is it?
Something's wrong. I can sense it.
With Lucy kidnapped, Rex forces Ganglion to take him to where she is. This takes us to the gate, one of Julius's major outposts on the island chain, where we encounter some larger creatures. But by now, we have quite a few of our own. We push into the enemy base and clear it out. We take the enemy controller out, giving us a few of their large creatures, push in and clear out the entire island. Overall, this mission was pretty simple, which has been surprising this late in the game, but it was also at the end of this mission where we get a huge reveal about Rex. Or, more accurately, the Tunguska event of 1908. An asteroid somewhere around 200 feet had an airburst explosion, with power somewhere in the range of a 12 megaton bomb, wiping out some 700 miles of forest. It's just a real good thing it didn't hit a city. However, this event, according to the game, was an experiment by Nikola Tesla in order to test his death ray. However, it had some unforeseen results and created the Sigma technology instead. It was during this event, when Dr. Chanikov's wife died, his son was changed forever. Rex would become the first human to be combined with the Sigma technology and survive. When Julius discovered this, he pushed forward his plans to conquer the world. That is, after he discovered how to replicate the effect on others. We make our way to a new island, Isla Inasanum. Rex is still reeling from the revelation of his abilities, and it is here where Ganglion states that Julius's main goal is to make America great again, and protect it from the rising influence of communists and fascists, which, considering the events of the next few decades, was probably not a bad idea.
Oh, the reasons. He goes on and on. Mostly politics, economics, saving his precious America from the evil clutches of communists and fascists everywhere. Quite dreary subjects, to be honest. I hardly listen.
Ganglion waits to mention a certain issue with the island in particular. It is a virus that only affects combined creatures, Rex included. We get 15 minutes to find and destroy the tank containing the cure. Once that's done, we head to clear out the island. In all the confusion, Ganglion takes the lab once more for another joyride. And this is finally starting to wear on Rex, who borrows a copter from the henchman to go after him. We eventually catch up to Ganglion, who was expecting to meet none other than Julius himself.
Oh, you didn't actually expect my help, did you?
He tries to control Rex, since after all, he is a product of the Sigma technology. But Rex unleashes the literal power of the Sigma, forcing Julius and Ganglion to retreat to their respective labs. This makes it the final push, and both of them came to play. Each of them will throw their top-tier creatures at you. Initially, you're on the defensive. However, after pushing up and taking out Ganglion's lab, we now only have to deal with Julius. Only thing is, his fortress is a tough nut to crack. That being said, with enough brute force or a series of air raids, you can take out his lab and win the day.
Did you ever have a dream, Mr. Chance?
I dreamt that one day I'd meet my father.
Ah, yes, well, I suppose I ruined that for you, didn't I? I guess we could say we're even then.
No, we can't. Where's Lucy?
I have a duty to the world. I don't expect you to understand that.
Goodbye, Julius.
We saved Lucy and... wait a second. If only we got a sequel. Either way, we rolled credits, with the day being saved, and Rex becoming the ultimate Sigma male, or becoming more like the creatures he now controls. Overall, I enjoyed the campaign, though there were a few missions that were a bit of a slog, or where the AI seemed to have a huge advantage compared to you. But it was overall fair, decently challenging. The game does have more of a life thanks to mods, the Tellurian mod being one of the more popular ones, has many more creatures as well as campaign integration. I should mention that the majority of online players seem to use this mod since it adds so many more creatures, and ease of life changes as well. I would personally recommend Impossible Creatures to anyone trying to get back into the old school real-time strategy games, or just trying to get into them in general. Yeah, there's a lack of balance. Sometimes you don't need to have balance just to have fun. The game is available on Steam for about $10, but it often goes on sale for much less. Nothing beats the true chaos that you can unleash in this game. If you made it this far, I feel like you might truly enjoy this quirky game from 2003. It's about as much as I did. Cue the montage. I plan on doing more videos like this, and hopefully a few of the games I cover pique your interest. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and all that business. Until next time, have a good one and travel safe. Oh, and since we made monsters, I'm gonna make some more.